Hey, happy Monday and Martin Luther King Day. Pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com. Today is Monday, January 21st, 2019. This is episode 233 of The Daily Dope. So, welcome aboard. Pretty crazy day so far today. And do want to point out, this is going to be probably one of the shortest shows I've ever done. No news today. I don't have any news set up today. Now, I am going to do a how to play as well as a review of Codenames Marvel from Czech Games Edition and USAopoly. That's coming up in just a moment or two. But no news. Things have been really hectic. Got to point out, and I'm fine. I'm okay. It's not like I had another heart attack or something like that, right? So I'm fine. I'm okay. But this weekend, my sister-in-law, she works for an airline. I know the airline employees aren't really, supposed to talk about what airline they work for. That's why if you ever see somebody from an airline on like a TV show, like Wheel of Fortune or something like that, they always say, "Oh, I work for a major airline." They don't say, "Oh, I work for whoever." But anyway, she was on her way to O'Hare Airport to go to work, following all that snow we got, which we didn't get as much snow as people were afraid we were going to get. But she ended up totaling her SUV. So luckily, she was all right. She lost control, I guess, on a curve that where it's pretty much one highway. It's an on-ramp to another highway, and lost control, regained control, and then hit a semi, and then went off into a wall, and thankfully she's okay. But so now they're down to one car, and both of them work for different airlines, so I had to run around today, so until they get a new vehicle. But everything's okay. People are fine. Yeah, it's just a thing, right? It's just a vehicle. It's no big deal. That's what insurance is for, right? Things happen. So, but everything's okay. Everybody's all right. It's just I really had not had a lot of time to put together some news and things like that. So that was kind of the reason why this is going to be kind of a shorter show than usual, which for me, that probably means like 35 minutes anyway, right? Because I tend to, chatter on about different things. Do want to mention, might have a new contributor coming on board to the Gaming Gang website. That's pretty cool. Talking with somebody who might do some gaming reviews for us. Maybe even a little comic book reviews. Don't know. I've had the hardest time getting people to do comic reviews for us. And I get the free PDFs every week. I get them a couple of weeks before they hit the stands as far as the physical comics. But I guess these days people just want, the physical book, which, hate to break it to you, no comic company does that anymore outside of DC. And I'm not even sure if DC does that anymore. So I'm taking a peek here. It looks like we dropped some frames early, which sometimes happens. CPU looks fine. Our kilobits per second look good. Just double checking, because last week we had a couple of shows that were real choppy. And I think it was because the CPU was kind of spiking, but it looks like everything's cool here. It looks like we don't have any more dropped frames, but it does look like we dropped some frames early on in the show. I don't know why that does that. I honestly do not know. Kind of irritates me a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to get into talking about Codenames Marvel in just a second. Do want to point out once again, please consider donating to Lil Bub's Big Fund at the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. bring down little Whizzbub once again. That's right, Lil Whizzbub. But that is the real Lil Bub. And I just saw something today talking about how Lil Bub raised $120,000 last year for animals, for special needs animals. And I want to say 1.5 million bowls of Halo pet food were donated to shelters. So that was very, very cool. So I do point out that Lil Bub's Big Fund is it's geared to animals that have special needs, like Lil Bub does. As amazingly adorable as that cat is, that cat has a lot of different challenges that it has faced and overcome, thankfully. But Lil Bub's Big Fund does support, through grants, organizations that do care for special needs animals as they await adoption to go to their forever homes. So do also want to mention that 100% of the funds raised do go out as grants. That's very, very important. I mentioned last week, and I'm gonna, this is something I'm gonna talk about on every show, and I'm sure people will be like, boo. Got to point out that all funds that come in, all profits basically, which there aren't tons, but all profits that do come into the gaming gang, and of course the Daily Dope, everything beyond our operating fees is going to be donated to the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals and Lil Bub's Big Fund. So please consider helping out animals in need. See, it's a better message than me sitting there saying, oh, go to my Patreon, support me on Patreon, right? I think so. All right, so as I pointed out, I am going to be doing a bit of a how to play and reviewing Codenames Marvel from Czech Games Edition and USAopoly. It's designed by Vlada Chivatel and Casey Sherson. I think that might be it, or Sherson. Graphic design is by Casey Sherson. The game is for 2 to 8 players, ages 8 and up, plays around 15 minutes, and does carry an MSRP of $24.95. The game has been out for a while. I got to point out, this was not something that was sent as a review copy. This was actually given to me, it was for my birthday, but I didn't see Elliot, my best friend Elliot Miller, until I want to say after Halloween. So this was actually a birthday present. So I thought that was kind of cool. So I have to also be very honest, I had not played any of the Codenames games. I know a lot of people really dig Codenames. They love Codenames duets and or duet, I guess it is. I know there's like a Disney Codename. It's just I seek out games that are thematic. I'm a big thematic game fan. I don't necessarily get into like party games or puzzle games and things like that. Not to say I don't enjoy them from time to time. It's just not something I seek out. So with Codenames Marvel, it's a bit different. It is a party game. It is for 2 to 8 players, but it's Marvel, right? So I'm a huge Marvel fan from way back. I was about, 8. I think I was 8 years old when I got my first Marvel comic. So that is way, way back there. My brother swears up and down he still remembers the first comic book I ever got. For some reason, I think it was the Avengers. I think it was in I think it was back when George Perez was doing the Avengers. And George Perez would pack like every possible character into a splash page and things like that. So I'm like, hey, okay, all right. So we're talking Codenames Marvel. Sweet. So effectively what you're looking to do is you're going to have 2 teams. One team is going to be Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the other are going to be Agents of Hydra. Hail Hydra. And you're looking to be able to have 2 players on each team are pretty much the directors. So everybody else on the team is going to be choosing one of these 25 tiles, and there are loads and loads of these. Kind of flip through those a little later. So each of the teams is trying to score all of their tiles. So each team is looking to each director is trying to give clues out for their team to choose tiles that will match what they're trying to get them to pick. So in order to do that, you'll choose your teams, you'll break up into teams, and you'll have each of your players will be a director. So each team will have a director. Then you're going to draw one of these cards here. And the card stock's pretty good on these. I mean, it's not phenomenal. It's not like it's punch board or anything like that, but there is a finish to the cards. That's why you're seeing some glare coming off some of these. But what you're going to do is you're going to draw one of these cards, you're going to flip it over. So you're going to see that these cards, and only the directors of each of the teams gets to see this. So red cards represent Hydra cards. The blue represents shield cards. The kind of purple finish, kind of purple color there, that is pretty much a neutral card. And this yellow box right there, that is the assassin square. That represents Thanos. If any of the players on either team ends up selecting that tile, that card, that team is going to lose because Thanos comes out. So that is how that basically works. So if you also have players that happen to have any form of, say, color blindness, you will notice that there's circles for the shield, diamonds for Hydra, blank for the neutral cards, and then it's a big X for good old Thanos. So once you've done that, once you've selected your card, and when you pull the card, you'll notice we've got different ways that you could possibly be looking at this card. So what we were doing is we were basically taking a card and just taking it like so, spinning it, and then saying, okay, put it on here, and then the two directors are going to take a look, and the card would be like so. So this is what both of the directors are operating out of. So as an example, you're looking at, okay, so Luke Cage's chain up here would be a shield card. Ego, the living planet, that would be a neutral card. The absorbing man here would be a shield card. If we go down here, the Daily Bugle would be a shield card. Hydra card, Hydra card, Hydra card, Hydra card. So that's how you basically will look at, it's 5x5 grid. So you've got 25 in all. So you'll see along the edge of this card here for the directors, it's either going to be blue or it's going to be red. So that's going to indicate which team is going to go first. But if your team is going first, then that also means that you have to get one more of your tiles than the other team. So for an example here, if we're using this card, the Hydra team only needs to get 8 correct, and the Shield team needs to get 9 correct. So what you're really basically trying to do is you're trying to get players to choose the cards that are on your side, right? Getting some glare off of the Hydra cards. Let's see if we move them. Get rid of some of that glare. There we go. That's better. So these are basically the neutral. So they're Infinity Stones, as well as the Infinity Gauntlet. And then we've got Thanos. Got big bad Thanos here. So, having not played any of the Codenames games, this was kind of new to me. So, for some reason we're kind of cutting these off at the bottom here. Didn't mean to do that. Let's see. Let's try to adjust this a little bit. Still not helping out too much. All right. So anyway, I had absolutely no clue how you play Codenames. I had heard a lot of people really, crowing about the game, and the game has been out. Regular Codenames has been out for quite a while. I believe Codenames Marvel has been out since late 2017. Now, that may have only been in Europe. I'm not sure if that's when the USAopoly edition came out, this is what I'm looking at here is USAopoly. So, what you're going to do is, as the director, let's say as the director, I happen to be the shield player. So I'm going to be looking here at all my cards that happen to be shield cards. So I'm looking at, okay, I've got the Billy Club, Daredevil's Billy Club. I've got Sandman. I think that's Titan. Let's take a look. And on the cards also have text on the back. So you can play either with text, or you can play with the cards, or you could actually play some images and some text. Personally, it's Marvel. You got all this Marvel Comics art. Yeah, why wouldn't you be trying to utilize, the cards? And there's plenty of them. So why not use the image side up? So anyway, also we've got the Daily Bugle is a shield card. The Avengers are a shield card. We've got Red Skull's a shield card. Absorbing Man's a shield card. Punisher's a shield card. And as I mentioned, Luke Cage or Power Man's chain is also a shield card. So as a director, I'm kind of looking at this and I'm trying to think, okay, so what can I use as a clue to try to get the players to select more than one or more of these cards that happen to be shield cards? And the way you're doing that is, and I kind of disagree a little bit as far as the clues. So you use one word and you can use a number. So as an example, I could sit here and say red. Say red 2. All right, so my team is looking and they're going, okay, so what seems to be predominantly red on the game board here? Well, obviously, if they know Marvel Comics, that's the Red Skull. So I'm thinking they're probably going to go for the Red Skull. And Daredevil's Billy Club is red. I mean, that is predominantly red taking up the card here. Now, it would be possible that somebody would say, oh, well, the Hulkbuster suit here, there's a lot of red in that. Oh, well, there's Thor. Thor's got that big red cape. Thor has that big red cape. Female Thor, male Thor. So I could say red, and let's say for an example, I say red 2. So my team might sit there and discuss a little bit, and then they say, okay, Red Skull. So what they have to do is they have to actually point or touch the card that they want to claim. So if that was correct, if my team said, oh yeah, okay, then I would say, yes, that's correct. And we would mark that off with a shield in essence. Let me grab a quick sip here. Now, the number, not only am I saying how many of these cards here fit into that clue, but the number will also indicate how many guesses they get to take. And if it's a later round, if it's not the first round, players can remember previous clues if the team did not get that correct. So that gives them an extra guess as well, an extra pick as well. So as an example, so I said red 2. Okay, all right, cool. So they choose the Red Skull. They go, okay, great, that was correct. Now let's say as an example, they say, okay, this. You're like, no. So now they've actually revealed one for Hydra. So Hydra would get that. And then it would move on to Hydra's turn. So Hydra's going to sit there looking at how, well, let's see. Let's say, taking a peek. Funny thing is, I would say Avengers, because there's so many Avengers things that are out here that are Hydra, but the problem is, that's the Avengers right there, and that would probably be the most likely one that they're going to pick first. They're going to go with that first. Don't want to say anything black, because the Black Widow's sting, the Widow's sting down here, that's Thanos. So if I were the Hydra team, I certainly do not want them picking the Thanos card. Oh, Pinky's come downstairs now to complain. Hello, Pinko. It's a live show. What can I tell you? Pinky likes to come down and just make sure that everybody knows she's here. So you're going to continue on until all the players have revealed, if it's the starting team, 9 of their cards, the second team, 8 of their cards, or one of the teams has picked the Thanos location by accident. There is also a variant where if, say for an example, I said, oh gosh, planet, and rather than somebody choosing Titan, they choose Ego. Well, Ego's not a card for either one of the teams, so you could drop one of the Infinity Stones. If all the Infinity Stones and the Infinity Gauntlet come out, then everybody loses, is basically how it will work. And that's effectively how you're going to go about playing the game. So the one thing I started to say that I'm not necessarily keen on, and we were kind of trying to use our own sort of house rule, was that, now what in the world is going on here? This camera is shifting. I tell you, it's the duct tape studio. I'm not joking. It is the duct tape studio, and the cold is actually causing the, because it's cold down here, even though I don't have like condensation blown out. It's causing the tape to kind of loosen up, that I keep a camera directly above, you know, and it's kind of coming off the pole. So anyway, that looks better. Hopefully it quit moving around. Anyway, one of the things that I kind of disagree with is that you can use as a clue. First of all, you can only use one word. It is a one-word clue. So you can actually use part of the character's name as a clue. So for an example, when I said red, that's the Red Skull. There's the Green Goblin. You got the Green Goblin in here. So it's kind of like, I don't necessarily like the fact that you can use a word from, like for an example, I could say Iron 2. Well, you got Iron Man in the Hulkbuster suit. We got Iron Man as part of the Avengers over here. Now, granted, the Hulkbuster suit's Hydra. The Avengers are S.H.I.E.L.D. So that's not a clue I would use, but as an example, I could do that. Or I could say Tony. Well, once again, Tony Stark. Iron Man, Iron Man. I could say Rogers. Well, got Avengers here, Captain America here. Could conceivably, if I said Rogers 3, it could possibly be Captain America, the Avengers, and Red Skull, because Red Skull is Captain America's main enemy. So like I said, I'm not a huge fan of being able to use like part of the character's name as a clue. That said, you're trying to sit there and get your team to choose more than just one card per turn. So you got to be able to come up with some clues that are relatively specific, but also covering more than just one card. Because if you're just going to be doing one card at a time, you're going to be out of luck. You are not going to end up, your team is not going to win, because the other team's going to be able to get 2, 3, 4, maybe cards of their own in one round, and you're sitting there putting around with just 1 or 2. So anyway, so that's pretty much how you play. Whoever's going to get all of their cards guessed first is going to be the winner. If somebody picks Thanos, that team loses, and if the Infinity Stones and Infinity Gauntlet end up coming out before everybody's got their cards, then both teams lose. Game comes with loads and loads of cards with lots and lots of artwork. A lot of artwork from various different period. Well, I don't want to say periods of Marvel comics because they're all fairly recent. Especially a lot of the iterations of the characters, a lot of their costumes and stuff like that are all. There you go. There's a Green Goblin. They're all recent. I got to point out, this game is for fans of Marvel Comics, not necessarily the MCU, because there are loads and loads of characters and loads of villains and kind of equipment and things like that that are from the comics that have never made appearances in the MCU. So that is one of the drawbacks of this game, is that you need to be a fan of Marvel to really, and I mean, not just, yeah, I've read some comics from time to time. You really got to be a fan to know what you're looking at here. Now, granted, a lot of times we've got, if you're playing just with the words, it's a lot different, right? Personally, I would think people would have a harder time with the words playing with just the text side, only the text side, than with the images or a mixture of the images and text. With you can play 2 to 8. There are variants. There's a variant in here for 2 players. I did not play the 2-player game, so I don't know. And we played with 6, so we played 3 players a team, and then we just kept rotating the directors after each round. Played in about 20 minutes. I know the box says 15 minutes, but got to be honest, it took a little more than 15 minutes once we even had a handle on the game play itself. But all in all, nice quality components. These are nice cardstock. I shouldn't say cardstock. These are like punchboard, cardboard here. Not super thick, but really nice. This is just pretty much cardstock. But you've got all those cards, you got this stack of cards, and you also have this stack of cards. So if you're playing this game quite often, you're still looking at a 5x5 grid. That's 25 cards. There are lots of cards. You're not gonna be seeing the same cards in the same grids all the time. And wow, this is really coming apart here. So I better wrap up before the camera actually drops off of this. That would not be cool. Hey, well, what can I tell you? All right, so all in all, Codenames Marvel, I had fun. I enjoyed it. I thought this was pretty cool. Of course, probably goes a long way that I and my brother and my nephew, pretty knowledgeable as far as Marvel goes. My brother's the most knowledgeable out of the bunch, but so that helps a lot. I got to be honest, sometimes I have a hard time coming up with clues that apply to more than one card. I really got to kind of look. I'll tell you who the game probably is not going to be good for is people who don't know anything about Marvel Comics. So that said, if you are playing in a party environment and you've got teams, you might try to find out how much just ask, so do you know a lot about Marvel Comics? Not the movies, the comics. And if a couple of people say, yeah, make sure you split them up, put them on separate teams. Because if you keep in mind, the 2 directors for each team, they're trying to guide the players. They're trying to guide the team into making a pick. It's not that the players on that team all take turns choosing. It's all, everybody talks about, oh yeah, you know what? I think it's this clue. I think they're talking about this. I think the director's trying to tell me this. Something else to keep in mind, the directors are supposed to be completely, impartial. They just give the clue. They're not supposed to be like looking at certain parts of the board, looking at certain areas of the cards, or, somebody starting to, point at a card. Don't be reaching for your, I'm getting ready to, no, can't do any of that. That's cheating. So, Pretty cool game. I mean, it's simple to get into. Some people like it, some people won't. As I mentioned before, you're looking at something where if you're not a Marvel Comics fan, you're not going to be getting into it. But then again, I mean, if you're not a Marvel Comics fan, you're not going to be out there buying this game anyway. So all in all, on a scale of 1 to 10, I give Codenames Marvel an 8. I know a lot of people really dig Codenames. I liked it. I thought it was fun. It's not a game that I would be like, oh yeah, I gotta play some Codenames. But that's just the kind of gamer I am. As far as party games, I'm not a fan of party games, but I would certainly play Codenames Marvel at any party at any time. So I did enjoy it. I think it's got a lot of gameplay packed into the box, especially for an MSRP of $24.95. All right, so that is it for today's show. As I mentioned, going to be quite a bit shorter today just because I didn't have time to take care of stuff. I had to do my cardiovascular rehab today too. So when I say I was running around a lot, don't joke, I was running around a lot. But coming up on this week's shows, they will be longer. There will be news. There shall be blood. Or no, it's There Will Be Blood. That's the movie, right? There Will Be Blood. Not one of my favorites. Everybody was like just hog wild about that movie, and I saw it. I was like, yeah, it's all right. It's okay. And I like Paul Anderson's stuff. Don't know. I don't know. Anywho, on tomorrow's show, I might have an interview. I'm working on having an interview, doing the interview in the afternoon, and having it up on tomorrow's show because I'm trying to do more interviews for Tuesdays, kind of make it a talky Tuesday or talking Tuesdays. Not positive if I'm going to be pulling that off. Regardless if I do or don't, I am going to be taking a look at the Relics of the Future expansion for the Shards of Infinity card game, which is from Stoneblade Entertainment and Ultra Pro. I reviewed the card game itself, the core game, a few months back. That was one of the earlier episodes of the Daily Dope. On Wednesday, it's War Game Wednesdays, so I am going to unbox and take a first look at the second edition of Andy and Abyss, which had recently come out. This is one of the coin series from GMT Games. This is a new edition. It's got some new rules wrinkles. Wow, I had a hard time getting that out. New rules wrinkles. So that is on Wednesday's show. On Thursdays, I always like to do RPGs on Thursdays. I did a pretty in-depth page through for Coriolis from Free League Publishing and Modifius Entertainment a couple of weeks back. I am going to review this on Thursday. Then on Friday, got 3 reviews this week. On Friday, I'll be reviewing Shadow Rift, the heroic adventure game from my friends over at Starling Games, although you won't see that on this box anyplace. This is a fantasy deck building game. And I love fantasy and I love me deck building, so you'll have to tune in on Friday to hear my thoughts. All right, so as I like to point out, when you're not watching the Daily Dope or videos on the Gaming Gang channel, please visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. By now you know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. I'll be back tomorrow, so until then, enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Thanks again for watching The Daily Dope, presented by The Gaming Gang. If you like this episode, be sure to give it a quick thumbs up. And if you dig the channel, please subscribe. If you'd like to check out our previous episode, click right here. And if you want to check out a somewhat randomly selected episode, give a click right down here. It'll be like opening a box of Cracker Jacks. You just don't know what you'll get. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'm Jeff McAleer.